A few years ago, I was walking through the woods off the beaten track a bit, and I smelt this really overpowering sweet smell. Being nosy, I pulled back the undergrowth to have a look and found a dead body. The guy had clearly been there a while and wasn't looking great, all swollen and green and black with various runny bits. The local wildlife had also been dining well for a few days. I called the police, who told me to wait with the body until they arrived. Being in the middle of nowhere, it took a while for them to arrive, and it got dark, and I was just sat there in the dark with him for a long time. For a long time afterwards, I had dreams about him, and he would talk to me, and not nice things. Probably just my imagination, but all pretty disturbing at the time. He still turns up in my dreams from time to time, and no doubt he will tonight. When I was a young child, I had the same dream every night for years, about drowning when a huge wave swept over me, and I sank to the bottom. Years later, I had a temp job delivering mail one summer during college. I saw this old lady sitting on a front porch, waiting for me. When I got up there, she looked at me and said in a foreign accent,
"You drowned when Oceania sank beneath the waves."
Freaked me out. My great-grandmother watched my great-grandfather die. They were truly in love forever. After he died, she woke up every morning and said, "Damn it," because she was ready to pass away. My great-aunts would hear her talking on a baby monitor. They set up talking to members of the family who had already passed. Finally, one afternoon, they heard her go, "John, finally, why are you always late?" They were frozen, as John was my great-grandfather's name. They walked in 10 minutes later, and she passed away. She was just waiting for her husband to come get her. I used to hear things calling my name from the opposite end of the house. Like, I would be in my room playing with Legos or something, and I would hear my dad call my name from his room. So, I'd go to my parents' bedroom and ask them what they wanted, and they'd always tell me that they never called my name. Being a little kid, I honestly started to think that they were playing a joke on me, because this happened about once every couple of days. Well, one night it happened, and I went to ask them what they wanted, like always. But right as I stepped into their room, I heard my mom's voice calling for me from the living room, which is all the way on the other side of the house. It was at that exact point that I knew no one was tricking me, because I was looking at both of my parents sitting in front of me. Not too long ago, I woke up to a banging noise on the window. At first, I figured it was just the wind and tried to shrug it off to go back to sleep. But I kept hearing footsteps in my room. It sounded like someone was circling my room. I sleep with the radio on, and at this very moment, it was playing a very depressing song. So that really started to scare me. Anytime I did drift off to sleep, I got these really weird images in my head of random creepy things. The room also felt as if it was getting colder. I decided to get back into bed and put my pillow over my face. This helped calm me down. But just as I had settled down, I swear to God, from the bottom of my bed, I heard someone say,
"I am not dead."
I've not slept in that room since. When my grandfather lost my grandmother, I would wake up every morning and go to his house to see him. He has been really lonely since my grandmother died 3 months ago. I will never forget this moment. It was December 2nd I arrived at his house. We sat down. He was holding a book, and my grandfather has the biggest smile on his face. I was so happy to see him smiling. He looks at me and says, "Guess what? I'm going to go see my wife in 2 days." At the moment, I thought my grandpa had lost it. Believe it or not, my grandfather died 2 days later in his sleep. The thought of it is scary, creepy, and disturbing. It is like he knew he is going to die in 2 days. The last 2 days he was alive, he was smiling and peaceful, as if he was dancing in the hall with grandmother, like they used to do. I once knew a man who worked in a morgue, and he told me this: the creepiest thing I've heard from a dead body is the moaning. When you're moving or manipulating them, leftover air in the lungs gets pushed out and can cause them to sigh or groan. I was staying in the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado, the hotel that inspired Stephen King's The Shining. Around 1 a.m., I heard what sounded like children running up and down the hallways, interspersed with laughter. I opened the door to see what the hell was going on, and didn't see anything. Quick little buggers, I thought. Then, the next morning, when my partner and I took a tour of the building, the guide stopped directly in front of our room to tell us the story of young girls whose ghosts can be heard running up and down that same hallway.